Hey, what's up guys? It's Art Book Addiction here, and we're here with a new artist journey video, right? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the blood oath, okay, or like the blood pact that we as artists take, right? When we have decided that we are fully invested in our artwork, and basically it's my life for art, right? So yeah, before we get into the video, guys, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, right? Check out my prints in the link below, right? It'll really help out the channel. If you purchase a print, it's the best way to support the channel, right? But with all that said, let's get into this, right? So the blood pact, right? This is a very big milestone for the artist, right? It is when the artist has decided that this is basically a point of no return, right? When they've decided to fully commit themselves to this endeavor, okay? And this can happen in different ways, right? Depends on the person, right? But it's basically when they've decided that I'm gonna take this seriously, and I want this to be what I do, right? And some people, right, they could how they accomplish that is up to them, right? But basically there comes a point where you must sign the blood pact, right? And this is not like a conscious thing, this is a subconscious effort, right? But one day so this could be like, you know, when you decide to enter art school, right, and study it, right, and learn, right? For others, it could be like in high school when you're like, oh well, I want to decide. I decided this is gonna be my career, right? It could be later on in life, right, where you know, art was wasn't too big, but was like a smaller passion. But then like you decided, oh, I don't like my current career anymore, so I want to switch over to art, right? Basically, there is a point where you can't go back, okay? And so what does the blood pact mean? What does this mean for the artist, right? It basically means that let's see, that if you don't do art, if you don't do it, you will suffer, okay? And it's like in its most basest form, that's what it means. If you don't do art, you're gonna suffer, okay? And how that manifests, it manifests in people in different ways, but in most cases, right, it's what's known as art guilt, right? When you're not producing, when you're not creating, right? When you stop creating, and you're just like, for example, right, like let's say you're doing like an office job, right, and you're just focusing on that. You don't have time to create, so you kind of put it on the back burner, right? But then there's that kind of like nagging feeling in the back of your head, right? It's this voice that keeps saying like, hey man, this is great and all, but like, why aren't you making, you know, hey, you know, and it's like, it will drive you mad, okay? Or like, you know, for those who have gone through art school, right? Let's say you didn't draw for like a week, okay? Like, you think that would, like, you know, you think that wouldn't be too bad for normal people, but like for those who have signed the blood pact, right, it is agonizing, okay? The negative thoughts, the darkness will start to accumulate, right? And then this could affect other things, right? I've seen people who because of their neglect of the blood oath, right, it's made people fail relationships, right? It's made people lose jobs, okay? It's made people what do you call it, just go crazy, and then like they're depressed and they don't know why, right? It's basically when you've decided that art is my weapon against the darkness, right? And that's very, very important to know, right? Because some people believe that they have signed the blood pact, or they believe, oh, I've gone this far and I didn't sign the blood pact, and then like that's wrong. If you feel art guilt, right? If you're like, oh dude, I haven't drawn in like this many days, or I like, you know, I feel bad, right? Or you have like this nagging negativity that is usually alleviated by drawing, right? That means that you're in, okay? You're in the blood pact, okay? You signed unconsciously, right? And there's no going back, okay? It's a contract. You don't go back on it, right? And basically, it means that you have to draw, okay? That's the end all be all, right? You could always have, you know, you could have a career, you could do whatever you want, right? But like at the end of the day, like you have to draw, okay? Or you're gonna suffer. And what does that mean exactly? What does that mean to suffer when not drawing? Okay, it means that you, in your heart of hearts, are an artist. Okay, you're a creative. You must produce. Okay, you can consume all you want. It won't ever make you happy. Okay, so you have to produce. You have to create, right? And once you know that, it's a lot easier to accept, right? So once you've accepted the blood pact, you've entered a new state, right? You've moved past I'm just playing around. Okay, this is serious now, like, and there are serious consequences. Okay, your very soul is at stake now, right? Now you're playing. Now there's high risk. Now there's so much like more. Okay, right? And like, you know, some people, they might not want to sign that pact. Okay, and some people they knew, right? Like I feel like I was a person who was like, at a certain point I knew that I had to sign it, and that this was gonna be it, right? And it takes a lot to commit to that pact, right? But at the same time, not that much at all, right? Just drawing every day or having some set amount of time to create, sometimes that's good enough for some people, right? Your contract can vary, right, depending on person to person. Like what is your personal level of fulfillment, right? But you need to know when it happens. You need to know that it's happened. Okay, the blood pact does not mess around. Okay, like what I told you, it pervades like the essence of your life. All right, like, so like, you know, in real life, so like I want you to think about like the levels. Okay, the levels of life, right? There's reality right here. Okay, and then there is thought. Okay, right? That's your brain, the subconscious, right? And then up here is the divine. Okay, and that's where I want you guys to be thinking about right now. So the divine is where the pact is made. Okay, it's a pact made with a greater power. Okay, the muses. Okay, the muses tell you, we want you to sign this. Okay, and this will allow us to take control. Okay, basically you've signed yourself up as an instrument of the muses to create whatever their heart desires. Okay, and your muse is different than somebody else's muse, right? So it all depends on the person, right? But the fact is that there is the divine being that is connected to you, right? And each time you draw, each time you do something, it creates a much stronger connection, right? So the muse feels pain when you don't do the thing, when you're not creating, right? The muse requires you to create, right? It is what brings her life, okay? It is what brings her enjoyment, and thus through her, you enjoyment, okay? And it's very like high level stuff, right, to be thinking about. It's very philosophical, but it's true, because it really affects people. Okay, I've seen it, right? It's affected me, right? And I've explored this in my mind many times, right? And I'm like, and I've read I've read books about this stuff, and we kind of all come to the same conclusion, right? Which is like, because of our attachment with the divine, we need to draw, we need to create, right? Whatever it is, like I said, jazz musician, or like a DJ, right? Or an artist, right? Whatever you do, whatever you're creating, whatever you're making, pottery, whatever, that is what your muse has decided. Okay, that's what your muse has said. This is what you're gonna do. Okay, it will give you purpose, it will give you fulfillment, right? But if you are to put this away, you will in turn suffer, right? And so it's almost like, if you're feeling like, like all gummed up every day, right? Or you just don't know why, right? Usually, at least for me, right? If I start creating, if I start producing, I feel way better, okay? Like I will be exhausted, but I will feel better, okay? Because for that day, the blood pact is fulfilled, okay? Right? So like, for example, right? Before I paint, there's usually a lot of negativity, a lot of bad thoughts, a lot of darkness, right? Because we're living in that kind of time, right? Where darkness pervades everywhere, chaos reigns, okay? And the cure for that chaos, okay, is order, right? And for the artist, order is made on the canvas, okay, or whatever, what have you, on the music sheet, it's either way, it's the creative aspect that is like the opposite of the destruction that is happening around us, right? Like it's a barrier, it's a safe haven, right? And once you know that, then I feel like you have a structure to build on. You have something that you're like, okay, I know I need to do this. I need to set time for this. And if I do it, I'll be content. Okay? Right? So like, I'm telling you, so many people, they're just like, they have these thoughts, and they feel like it's uncontrollable, and like they feel this negativity, right? So the problem is that they're building it up, but they're not outputting, right? They're not outputting. Once you output, so this is kind of like dipping into other things, but like this is important to the blood pact, okay? Because the blood pact is what creates this environment, okay? It's what facilitates the suffering from not creation, right? And I'd argue that this happens for everyone, but like this is specifically for creative people, right? Because like I feel like normal people, they have outlets for their negative emotions in different ways, but for the artist, it is through creation, right? And you guys know what I'm talking about. Right? So yeah, signing the blood oath, the blood pact is sometimes it's not easy, but other times it's the easiest thing you could ever do, right? For me and a lot of people who are artists, there was no other choice, okay? There's nothing else to do, okay? And if you guys are about to decide such a thing, right? I recommend that you really think it over, okay? You really, like, how serious are you? How passionate are you? How much can your artist spirit take, okay? Because it's gonna require everything, okay? Everything, more than you think, and even more than that, okay? This is part of the artist's journey, okay? This is the point of no return for the artist's journey, right? There's no going back, okay? So please be very considerate, and think about what I said, okay? Because you might have signed the pact and not even known it, okay? You might have signed it, you might have not even known, right? because this is not a conscious thing. All right, this is a pact between you, okay, and the divine. All right, your thoughts, right? They'll be there to kind of be the in between, right? In between you and your muse, right? But at the end of the day, dude, right? If you've made the pact, okay, and you're ignoring it, and you're feeling horrible, then maybe you need to create. You know, maybe you need to produce, right? So yeah, the blood pact, a very important part of the artist's journey, right? And a very important part of my artist journey, right? So I think I'm gonna end the video, guys, right? I think I've covered that. You know, I might come back to it. You know how it is, right? So please, if you like this video, leave a like, right? Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment. Tell me about your guys' blood pact. When did you think that you made this pact, right? If you're deciding to take this pact, okay? Tell me how you guys feel about it. Like, do you want to? Do you feel unsure, right? That's part of it too, right? Ring that bell for notification. Buy my prints, all that bullshit. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot.